Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudoyani. Knowing Julius Malema, it came as no surprise that no sooner had the verdict in the East London Magistrate's Court was delivered and he was out toying in the streets and rubbishing that same judgment. It really did not come as a surprise. This is what I always expected out of Malema. I knew he would never have taken lightly to any, verdict that pronounces him guilty. But let us look briefly at the verdict. As far as the law goes, we'll look into the politics of it at a later stage. The magistrate outlining her evidence over a 3-day period. It was such a long judgment to write because she looked sometimes unwell and she complained about so many things, about the lighting in the courtroom and the fact that her voice was not what it ought to be. So it was rather problematic for her to deliver that verdict, which took her 3 days. But anyway, she came up with an analysis that on the 28th of July 2018, some 7 years ago, at the Caesar Lukashe Stadium in Mdantsane in East London, Julius Malema had fired live rounds from a firearm, thus endangering the lives of people around him, contrary to the provisions of the Firearms Act. So in essence, that is how she found. Although she found that some elements of the prosecution case, the forensic evidence especially, was not totally convincing. She came to the conclusion that the only inference that could be drawn, weighing both the prosecution evidence and the defense evidence, was that the version put forward by the prosecution was reasonably, possibly true, and that the prosecution did not have to prove its case beyond a shadow of doubt, but it had only to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. And she found, as a matter of fact, that the prosecution had proved its case beyond reasonable doubt, and thus found Julius Malema guilty. And his former bodyguard, accused number 2, Snyman, was acquitted on all charges. Let's have a listen to Malema's reaction to that verdict. Take a listen to this.
Thank you, the ground forces of the EFF, for your support. We've been here for 7 years. We are almost at the end because today she passed a verdict finding us guilty, but she released accused number 2, which is highly appreciated, because we know that from the beginning they've been looking for me. They were not looking for accused number 2. They were just playing games, and today they came out openly. As a revolutionary, going to prison or death is a badge of honor. We cannot be scared of prison. We cannot be scared to die for the revolution. So whatever they want to do, they must know we will never retreat from the ideas and the 7 cardinal pillars of the EFF, and the sign of those is to expropriate land without compensation. So comrades, you must not be deterred. We live here highly determined. We are going to fight this up until the Constitutional Court. We are coming on the 23rd of January for sentencing, and after sentencing, we will immediately put an appeal so that we can go to the higher court, because we think a judgment is fault. The strategy has always been, you must try to charge Malema with everything.
So that is how Malema saw things. It was always according to him, it had always according to him been a political vendetta to try and get him. That is why accused number 2, Snyman, was acquitted. He did not address the evidence at all. He just simply said that, this was just a ploy to get him, and that he would stand up and fight it right up to the Constitutional Court. So that is vintage Malema. He was defiant outside that courtroom in front of his supporters, and indeed vilified the court, for having found against him. So that is the situation that we find ourselves in so far as the Malema situation is concerned. And of course, the verdict has pleased Afrifora. Afrifora feels vindicated that, after 7 long years, Julius Malema has finally been found guilty of having discharged that firearm in a public place and thus endangering the lives of those around him. Malema, throughout the trial, insisted or put up a defense that this firearm that he fired, the gun that he fired there, was not a real gun, it was a toy gun. That was the defense put up by his defense team. But that was totally rejected as totally improbable by the court. So Malema's case, Malema has been found, guilty. The sentence will take place on the 23rd of January next year, where we expect a pre-sentence report to be presented. And we'll see where it goes from there. Because this, in the event that he's found guilty, there's a possibility of a jail sentence looming. Several years. He found himself up to anything, up to 6, 7, 8 years in jail for something like this. But let us not go in that direction. Let us wait for the 23rd of January and see how it goes from there and where Malema takes it after he has been sentenced. So that is what I have for you at this particular point in time, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.